Hello, listeners. Welcome back to another episode of Book Watch. This week, we're continuing our discussion of People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry and its brand new Netflix adaptation. I'm Jordyn.
I'm Sarah-Daye.
And I'm Chris.
Okie dokie. Welcome back. We are going through the plot of People We Meet on Vacation this week. Last week, we talked about the characters and the things that were same, different, what we liked, what we didn't like. And we were struggling to talk about it because so much of the characters' development is tied into the plot, and we didn't want to do too many spoilers for this week's episode. But we're here, we're doing it. And so we're going to start in chronological order. So this book does a lot of flashing backwards and forwards between different points in time, 12 summers ago to the present, then 10 summers to the present, back and forth until everything kind of catches up to itself. But we are going to go as much as possible in chronological order. So we're going to start 12 summers ago in the book, which is Poppy and Alex's orientation week at University of Chicago. That's where they're going to college. In the book, they chat a little bit in orientation and then are like, this guy's lame, this girl's weird, we're not really going to hang out, and they don't talk to each other for the rest of the school year. And that's pretty much it. So then we'll flash forward to 11 summers ago when they do reconnect kind of on accident because Poppy had been telling her roommate that she's trying to find a ride back to Linfield, Ohio, her hometown. And her roommate is like, oh, I have a classmate who is from there. You could probably hitch a ride with that guy. And it's Alex. Huh, what a coinkydink. So they start their first summer trip, road tripping from Chicago back to Linfield, Ohio. And that's the beginning of their relationship. They argue about music. She's asking him all these questions. What do you like? What do you not like? I felt very much attracted to Alex because I was like, hey, we're the same person, basically, like very similar to this guy. What did you guys think of these first couple of chapters and how they came out in the movie?
Yeah, well, obviously, the first chapter is not in the film. We first are introduced to Alex with that carpool scene and her saying, thanks for the ride. And she's an hour late and he's repacking the trunk.
Very
Again, I
important to have a
mentioned,
clear line of sight.
I mean, it
Mhm.
is. It is. He's not wrong. Um, in the last episode, I had mentioned, like, I felt he came off a little douchey in this scene. But I really like her and I really like how they bounce off of each other. And I think even though he is not into it, I think their chemistry is still there. So I
Oh,
like
he
to
almost
see
crashed
that
in their
this
car
early
because
on.
of her.
Yeah. Oh, the
I don't think he was
burrito.
looking at that burrito.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
burrito scene is hilarious when she is eating in his car and he looks over as he's pulling forward and splatters the thing as stopping too quick, splatters the burrito all over the place. I don't know
It
how they
was
get
his
that
fault
cleaned
though.
up. Yeah, oh, entirely.
No, it's her fault. She was being like, I would never get into a stranger's car and just start pulling out a burrito and start eating it. I feel like she was so rude for that.
She offered him a burrito too.
I know, but I still would like you can be late or you can be a slob and eat in my car. You got to pick one. You got to pick a
Well,
struggle
she was
girl.
late because she got the burrito.
But I didn't ask for the burrito. I asked you to be on time.
I don't think he would have mixed that
Anyways,
traffic even an hour earlier. I think he's just being a curmudgeon.
so like I said, I'm
I
very
know.
much an
Hour
Alex
late is
person.
ridiculous. Like, no, I don't care. I mean, I don't care if he's a curmudgeon or not. Like, I would be mad about an hour as well. Like, 10 minutes, 15, 20 is where I'm like, okay, where are you? But an
Yeah.
hour, absolutely. I would have left. I'm
Yeah,
surprised he
absolutely.
stayed.
Fair enough. I
He's a
mean,
good
I'm
guy.
chronically late to everything, but I don't think I would have been an hour late, not without communication at least. Although I guess this was 12 years ago, so
Yeah. Well, it also depends on like what you're late for. Like if it's your best friend and you see each other every week and you're running late, like whatever. But this is a total, a stranger basically, and you're doing her a favor, and the least she could do is show up on time.
Mhm.
But that's just me.
Even if it's your best friend and you're going on a trip together, an hour is ridiculous.
Yeah,
Well, you
true.
have to figure out how much you can take advantage of this person. She had to, figure out where the line was for her new best friend.
Apparently, there is no line. He's just down for whatever with her.
Fair enough.
All right. So then we have 10 summers ago, which is their trip to Vancouver Island in Canada. It's the first official summer trip that Poppy and Alex take. Um, this is where they meet Buck, who we mentioned last week in the character episode. So he is like, he's giving a very, somehow, even in Canada, he's giving California surfer guy vibes to me as someone who
Yeah.
lives in California. Can confirm that's what people are like here. Um, and he is like, he drives a water taxi. He's taking them around the island and showing them these cool places. He's like, oh, like you guys want to, in the book, they are living in like the old people side of town. And so he's like,
Mhm.
oh, like if you guys want to hang out with like some people your age, like, you can hang out with me and my friends. And he takes them to his house that like there's a bunch of tents set up in the backyard where there's just like a throng of teenage to early 20-year-old people just hanging out, drinking beer, getting high, having a good time. Just, it's not like a rager party, but like they're partying for lack of a better word.
Mhm.
Um, and that's Poppy and Alex. That's their first time hanging out with people like that. They are just trying to get their feet under them and see what's going on. And then they both kind of find these. Each of them finds their own hippie to start kind of hanging out with, and like maybe they're gonna hook up, maybe they're not. And then this is probably the first like super big change from the book.
Mhm.
In the movie, there's a whole skinny dipping thing, and then there's the whole Buck has a tattoo about memento mori, and that throws Poppy off. And none of that happens in the book.
Right.
We have the condom scene on the next one, but I'm pretty sure that happens before they go on the camping trip, though. So, um, I think
Yeah,
they meet at
in
their parents' house first and then head out on this trip too. Um,
yes, in the book, the big condom scene with the parents happens the following summer before they go to Nashville. But in the movie, they condense those. We don't go to Nashville at all in the movie, but we do get the condom scene with with Poppy's parents before they head out to Canada. That's right. Which was
which was
like a
hilarious.
funny and yet
It
horrifying
was
thing.
really so funny.
In the book,
And
yeah,
like,
she
does the
absolutely
sex
have to tie
talk
it to
with
the
the
roof.
does the sex talk with the dad happen in the book?
I don't
No,
think so.
not
No,
Okay.
not the
I
way
know
that
the
it happens in
condom
the
things.
movie.
I know the condom thing happens, and that was pretty identical with the whole big box. And she's like, "This is way too many condoms," and then showing it to Alex. But the whole
we're gonna have
sex
to tie
talk
these to the
really
roof.
added a layer.
It was
Yeah,
hilarious.
the conversation with Poppy's dad did not happen the way that it happened in the movie. The movie was like it was very funny and very much leaning into the comedic side of it all
Hmm.
and like the ludicrousness of that type of situation. Um, I don't know. My parents are a lot more like Alex's parents or like Alex's dad, where like don't really talk about it. That's, it's your personal private business. And we're not just like out in the open talking about that sort of thing. So like I was very much, again, having the Alex reaction of like, oh my God, you people are crazy. Like, what are you doing? Like, why are you talking about this out loud? Like, I was not ready for that.
That is funny. Yeah, I don't know that. I don't think I would have expected it either. But then again, I mean, her family in the book is pretty crazy. So,
Yeah.
and so
And
that translated pretty well to the movie, even if it was little less of the cluttered house style, like every memory saved sort of thing. But it was there.
yeah,
It was a really good scene.
yeah. And her parents had valid concerns. Like they were valid for thinking that and for wanting to protect her in that way. But coming from my background, I was like, you guys are weird.
I did appreciate that they kept the lambskin line
I was
Yeah.
just going to
in the
mention that.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the book, she mentions it's because she didn't know if he was allergic to anything.
Right.
She was totally looking out
Yeah.
for him and
Yeah.
her and everything.
A very fun scene.
Yep. What did you guys think of the rest of their trip to Canada?
It was fine. I mean, again, it it was the foundation we needed for the film of their, relationship and their character arcs. So that's really the start of it. So combining the trips and adding some stuff with the whole oh, is this the part where she falls and sprains her ankle and he has to carry her?
No,
No,
It
that
is a
happens
different,
in in the book. I think it does happen when they're camping.
but
but
not
not
in
here.
Canada. Not
No,
here.
Okay.
yeah,
I think that's what I'm, because I know it doesn't happen while they are on a hike in the book, and in
Yeah,
the movie it's walking back in New Orleans, I think.
yeah.
yeah. In the book, it was on camping, and he had to basically carry her back down the mountain or something like that. It was
Right.
It
Okay.
was
yeah,
Colorado? Question mark.
See, I
Maybe it
thought that
was.
was going to happen when they were looking out at the view, the beautiful view, and it didn't happen. So I actually thought they were going to cut it until we saw it in New Orleans. I'm like, oh, that's different, but it worked. I know we're getting ahead of ourselves, but it worked with them coming back to the house, and then the boyfriend was there as a surprise, and kind of interrupting that moment.
Mhm.
as with most modern films, I feel like they ruined a lot of the film in the trailer because even the ankle thing was in the trailer. A lot of these moments were there, so um, that's always a disappointment when they pull a lot of the big moments that way, and you kind of
Yeah,
lose that the surprise of some of those things. But it was still enjoyable. But I think I saw a lot of the big moments right there in the trailer.
yeah. Um, yeah, so they kind of combine a lot of what happens 9 summers ago in Nashville with the Vancouver Island trip. Alex and Poppy, like they go to Nashville, everything's fine. They talk about their sex lives or lack thereof in Poppy's case, and that kind of ties back to the scene in Canada with Buck. In the book, Poppy just straight up says like, "I don't want to have sex," and that's the end of it. And he's very cool about it, and they don't, and that's it. Versus in the movie, she actively says multiple times like she does want to have sex with him, and then he takes his shirt off and she sees the memento mori tattoo, and she starts thinking about death, and she's like, I can't do this now that I'm thinking about death. Which I think is it's an interesting choice to change her decision in that way, where like in the book again she very much says like I just don't want to, and that's that, versus like coming up with some other reason for her to not want to, or like to be like turned off in that moment. um I thought it was an
And
interesting choice to change that.
and the difference of him kicking her out in the book too, because he wants to go try and find somebody else, to naked Alex interrupting because he lost his clothes in the skinny dipping accident or incident,
Mhm.
was an interesting change of the focus there. I mean, it was entertaining to see Alex having to. I mean, imagine having to walk back the next day in a romper that you borrowed from your short friend.
Yeah,
That's got to be pretty entertaining.
yeah.
But I think that was an interesting change for sure.
Okay. And then we'll scoot along. So 8 summers ago, they go to San Francisco. Alex has finished college. Poppy is working, and they talk about their life goals. And Alex talks about getting married, having kids, and Poppy is very much into the nomadic lifestyle. Like, I just want to travel. I don't want to be tied down. And so that causes some problems for the two of them, and that conversation still happens, but not in San Francisco, right? It happens on one of their other vacations, or just like throughout the story it's alluded to over and over.
It must
Yeah, I think
be,
it's
yeah.
with Sarah at the table when they're doing like that conversation is kind of where that comes out. I feel like because they
And I
talk
feel
Yeah.
about
like they combined
nomads
a lot of summers in
in
that. Well,
that
is
one.
it Barcelona in the movie?
Tuscany. Oh, and Barcelona. Yeah, yeah. For the wedding, they go to Barcelona, versus in the
Okay,
book, they're in
no.
Palm
Where?
Springs.
Yeah, where's the double date trip? Is
Tuscany.
Tuscany?
Yeah.
So I feel like they combined a lot of summers into that trip in the film. Like the double date, the, her finding out about the engagement didn't happen there. Like he didn't get engaged. Wait, I'm getting
Yes.
ahead. I'm getting
Yeah.
feisty. This is
Hold
this
your
is the part of
horses.
the movie it starts to unravel for me. I still love the film, but I like a lot. I'm like, no, did not
Yeah,
like.
yeah. Hold your
You
horses. We're almost
realize you
there.
didn't have time.
Okay, so not a lot happening 8 summers ago in San Francisco. We'll scoot ahead to 7 summers ago in New Orleans. Poppy is dating a guy named Guillermo. They pretend, separately, Alex and Poppy pretend to be a celebrity couple who are a Broadway like power couple. And they go out and just like they get into fake fights and during karaoke in front of people, like, I know you're sleeping with the makeup artist, that kind of thing, like completely fabricating their life stories in front of all these strangers. And then they kind of like deepen their emotional bond with each other. Alex shares his short stories that he started writing, and Poppy thinks about her like loneliness and how she's always felt lonely in life. In her family, she talks about how she's kind of the odd man out, and then at school she was bullied and she was an outcast and she was on her own, and then all through her life she just has always felt like nobody really gets her. But then she reads the short story that Alex wrote and she's like, oh, Alex gets me. And so that's a very sweet moment for them in the book that we don't get in the movie.
Yeah, they have in their initial road trips where we get the moment of her talking about her bullying and stuff, and it was there, and we see them do the acceptance thing of he accepts me and I believe him, but other than that, they moved a lot of this one around a bit.
Mm-hmm. I did like the karaoke scene in the bar in New Orleans. I thought that was really fun. Getting to see like Weird Alex come out and like his weirdness coming out matching her weirdness, and how they actually like are a lot more compatible than you would think, because he always is seen and described as like this boring, like uptight, like put together kind of guy, but like a boring, uptight, put together person is not going to put on crazy outfits and do a karaoke dance and make up these lies to strangers with you. Like, I'm a boring, uptight, put together person. Like, I'm not doing that, typically
Oh, you're
speaking.
gonna do that?
I mean, now I might let my weird side really come out, but like up until I read this book, I would have been like, there's no way you could ever convince me to do that. Like, I would like, no, that's so weird. But
You
he's
gotta find
weird
you a
with
green
her.
wig or something, purple wig or something.
Ugh, okay. But like he is weird. He's just is, he just hides it a lot more than she does. And
Yeah.
so I thought it was really sweet to show like he is capable of being weird with her, and they are like really evenly matched in that way. They match each other's weirdness.
Yep. They deserve each other,
Mhm.
but they're not together.
We deserve each other.
That's what kept
This
going through my
wig
head
and
the entire
you.
time.
Yeah.
Watching this film and reading the book
Yeah.
was wicked.
All right. And then 6 summers ago, we have Vail, Colorado. Um, Poppy is broken up with Guillermo. Alex and Sarah have finally gotten together after some convincing on Poppy's part. Poppy actually has to like talk Alex into being with Sarah. Um, and this is where she sprains her ankle. Um, they actually reconnect with one of the hippies from the Vancouver Island
Oh, yes.
commune in the book. In the movie, they don't even go to
Nothing.
Colorado in the movie. That doesn't happen. But in the book, they reconnect. Um, and this is where Poppy sprains her ankle and Alex carries her and he's like, you can't call me Seabiscuit and like tell me to hurry up and like just let me help you. And so it's just another like sweet little memory that they have where you can see their love for each other continuing to grow deeper and deeper. 5 summers ago in Sanibel Island, again, cut from the movie. This is where Poppy realizes, like, oh, I might actually be in love with him, like, for real, and not just like that little 5% that she had kept alluding to. And then 4 summers ago, we've got the Sweden/Norway trip that gets canceled because Poppy gets pneumonia. And this is in the movie, this is kind of like the moment where she seems to realize, like, oh, I really love him and he really loves me. He's given up this trip. He
Mm-hmm.
could have still gone on, like, it was a trip paid for by her company for her to go and like do work, basically, that she was allowed to bring him on. and then she has to, she has literal pneumonia, so she can't go. And her boss is like, well, everything's already paid for and it's non-refundable, so like if your friend still wants to go, he can. And instead of choosing to go on this once in a lifetime trip that's already all paid for, he gets on his flight to New York for the layover, and instead of taking the layover and going to Europe, he goes to her apartment and takes care of her and helps her feel better. And that's when in the movie, that's when they both kind of start to acknowledge their feelings for each other, and it starts to get a little steamy.
I was gonna take you to an ice hotel.
I think that's just the fever talking.
No. Yeah, it was pretty funny. And the her what she has, like pneumonia or something in the book, and whereas it's just a fever, just a kind of a some sort of head cold or something in the movie that just has her down a bit. Which, I mean, it definitely changed the amount of time he had to spend there in the movie, but he does, and it is a good moment to connect and see that he cared more about making sure she was okay than going on this vacation. It showed that she is his home and his vacation is to go be with her. So I like that.
Yeah. Thank you. And then we've got 2 summers ago, the big one that has continued to be alluded to throughout the present summer that they're currently in. She always keeps talking about and referring back to what happened 2 summers ago in Croatia. And so we finally get to 2 summers ago, but I think we're missing three
I was about
summers
to say,
ago.
did I miss 3 summers ago? Because
I
that's the
lied.
double date, right?
That, yeah.
Okay,
Sorry. I
that's
just
my
keep
bad. I did the script, guys.
oopsie. So
So where is 3 summers ago?
that's the Tuscany
It
trip.
was a castle in Tuscany. Yeah.
The villa in
In the book
Tuscany.
too?
Yes, I think
Okay.
so. Yeah.
Okay. But so this is where they combined 3 summers ago and 2 summers ago in the movie. They had the double date and the pregnancy scare and all of that in this one. And so much has changed. So the
Get on your
pregnancy
soapbox.
scare, what?
Get on your soapbox. This is where it was,
Yes.
right?
Okay. The biggest thing I had about the change of the pregnancy scare in the film is that Alex didn't cry. Like the whole thing with his mom dying in childbirth, and that was like he was so scared that she was going to be pregnant and face that same fate. And I just didn't feel anything from him in this scene other than like waiting, it was all coming from her. Um and like she cried. I don't really remember her reaction in the book so much, but this was my first real like this was supposed to be his emotional moment, and it just kind of fell flat.
I agree. Because it is big emotional depth for him. I mean, it's what in the book causes him to go and get a vasectomy right afterwards to make sure that he doesn't
Hmm.
put somebody else in that position. And it's part of the, do I need to move forward with Sarah, or am I gonna? What am I wanting for myself here? It makes him really think. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Um. Yeah, and then we also get like Trey, Poppy's boyfriend, and Sarah. We finally get to meet Sarah in person in the book and the movie when they're in Tuscany, and the whole thing is just like so incredibly awkward. Like I hated every second of it. We saw Sarah and I was like immediately don't like her. Like she is coming off with such an attitude towards Poppy and everybody. And then I reflected later and I was like, that actually makes a lot of sense. And I would probably have been the same way if I was her. And then Trey, I still hate. I still think he's the worst. He was like super rude, which he's not in the book. I will say he's not like that in the book. He was very kind to Alex and Sarah and Poppy in the book all the way through. But he was a super douche in the movie.
And I
Like,
just don't think Poppy would go for a guy like that. I don't know. I
no.
mean, unless it's because, like, unless the movie was trying to portray that he's so different from what Alex is, and
Yeah.
like that she's just thinking that's what she wants because of
Yeah.
her lifestyle. Like, she's likes the nomadic lifestyle, and that's not what Alex wants. So
Yeah.
she's thinking that.
Or
But again, I just don't think she would date somebody that's mean.
no, I don't either. And maybe it was like how like I don't think how Sarah was acting in Tuscany is how Sarah always acts. I think that was directly because she was in close proximity to Poppy and she felt threatened by her. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe Trey was also acting like that because he was so close to Alex and felt threatened by
Good
Alex. And
point. Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? Like, so that could have been it too. Like, he might just be a super douche, or he could have been like that because, you know, again, he has that gut feeling something's going on between my girlfriend and this guy, and this is my girlfriend, I got to do something about it, you know, kind of thing. So it could have been that too. But yeah, the whole thing was just very awkward. So then, yeah, they have the pregnancy scare where she can't, Poppy can't determine if she's just like already getting a hangover and has a headache and is throwing up from all the wine. Because I mean, you're in Italy, obviously you're going to drink a ton of wine. So she can't figure out if she's just sick. She's like, oh my gosh, I think my period is late. Like I got to get a pregnancy test. And in the movie, an interesting change, she goes and gets Alex to help her through this moment, versus in the book, she bumps into him when she's returning from the local convenience store, which is like 40 minutes away. So like it's like
Because he always
5:30 in the
gets up and
morning.
runs.
Yeah, he always gets up and runs at 5:30 in the morning. She bumps into him, and so he happens to be there at this moment that she is feeling really alone and she really needs the support. Versus in the movie, they had her choose to go and wake him up and
Mm-hmm.
get him and pull him into this moment. Um, which is yeah, another interesting choice for them to do that and make that her choice instead of a happenstance. Um,
And then the engagement.
Yes, and
Right
so then
after.
there's the pregnancy. We already talked about a little bit. They take away Alex's like emotional depth by not telling us the viewer about the whole backstory with his mom and why he's upset. He doesn't even get that upset. Um, and then they come back and him and Sarah are engaged, which like when we were watching it, Sarah-Daye was like freaking out about it,
Yeah.
and I was like, I don't really get it. Like you just, like whatever. And then I read it and I was like, he didn't even buy a ring. Like he looked at a ring and was like, I should get that for Sarah. And then was like, no, that doesn't feel right. I'm gonna break up with her. Like the same day he breaks up with her, he gets his vasectomy. He does like, and he like just he moves on in that like that day. He doesn't even buy a ring, let alone get engaged to Sarah in the book at all. So I'm with you. I didn't like that either.
I didn't like it. I just felt like this whole section of the movie was just so rushed and jumbled compared to
Hmm.
the book.
Yeah, I didn't like it because it makes Alex seem less sensitive than he is. Like in the book, he's very sensitive. He cares very deeply about Poppy and his brothers and his dad. Like he's a very caring person and he's very considerate. He thinks of others before himself always. And the way that it came out in the movie was he very much was doing it and not thinking about the impact it would have on Sarah to get engaged to her when he doesn't actually love her as deeply as he loves Poppy. And even if he doesn't acknowledge how much he loves Poppy and that she's like, you know, the true object of his desire, he still knows that he's not fully committed to Sarah. They've broken up
Mm-hmm.
2 or 3 times already, and that's not fair to her. And I didn't like that change in his character that he did this, like whether it is to get back at Poppy because he's angry at her, to like protect him, to be selfish for himself, like I'm not going to keep waiting for Poppy, I'm going to do this for me. Like he didn't think about Sarah in that moment, and I didn't like that at all.
I agree. Because in the movie, Poppy kisses Alex the night before, like after the pregnancy scare happens, the kiss, and then the engagement. And I'm like, I don't like you. I agree. Like he's being selfish, trying to rush into this engagement, even though he apparently had the ring the whole time, and like not give in to the feelings that he has for Poppy because she finally kissed him. Like she made the move. Whereas in the book, he's the one that kisses her.
Mm-hmm. In Croatia. after
Right.
he's already had this realization that he doesn't want to be with Sarah. He breaks up with Sarah. She's broken up with Trey. They're both single because when she
Yep.
kisses him in Tuscany, that's cheating, girl.
Together.
So like you
Yeah.
just cheated on your girlfriend, or
Yes. Yeah.
she kissed him technically, but still, like, you still kissed her. There was a kiss that was shared between you and a woman who is not your girlfriend, and then the next day you propose to her.
Yep.
Hate that.
I mean, a moment maybe even of conversation where he says something like, "I'm gonna ask her to marry me," and like talks to his best friend about it and says, This is where I'm at right now. Am I to you?" He asked that question, but not
Right.
doesn't say, "Hey, I'm this close to asking because I don't know what you and I are."
Mm-hmm.
Well,
It might have helped.
Yeah.
no, I do think saying I want to propose to her, what do you feel about me, would have influenced her decision. So like, I
Totally.
kind of like that he didn't say he was going to propose to her. Like he wanted to know her true and honest thoughts on it without a possible
Yeah.
engagement. Like she wouldn't want to break up the engagement.
True. That's true.
But your best friend, you usually would talk to before you make a step like that. Sometimes, at least, you
Yeah.
know.
Well, yeah, it definitely should have been like before the night before.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, the conversation about what are we to each other? How do you feel about me? How do I feel about you? That conversation between Alex and Poppy needed to happen, and it has needed to happen several summers
Hmm.
ago. Like before we
Hmm.
even get to 3 summers ago in Tuscany with their current partners, that has been needing to happen. So at that point, like, if you haven't had the conversation by now, it's too late. Either you, like, that's when you have to remove Poppy from the equation. Are you going to be satisfied living the rest of your life with Sarah? Yes or no? If the answer is yes, go ahead and propose. If the answer is no, then stop stringing her along. Leave this poor girl alone.
Right. Um, Jumping ahead because we're talking about their communication and how they don't communicate, and you're saying they should have had this conversation several summers ago, and they don't communicate, and that is what happens 2 summers ago after the kiss. They just don't talk about it, and that's why,
Yes.
like, that's what makes it awkward, and that's why they stop talking. And it's like, if you had just talked about your feelings when the
Mm-hmm.
kiss happened, you would be dating 2 years
Yeah.
ago, most likely. Like, they both,
Yes.
I think, knew they liked each other but didn't know the other one reciprocated those feelings, so
Yes.
they
I'm
wasted
gonna
two
say
years
that's
of their
it.
life.
Yeah. Well, and that's
Yeah.
where the lack of talking about them going to therapy sucks, because they are able to learn how to communicate and learn how to process their feelings by going to therapy.
Hmm.
And when you take that out of it, it just, like, again, makes it seem like they magically, all their problems get solved at the end of the movie so we can tie a bow on it. It's like, no, like, they put in, like, there's several, like, weeks later, months later, like, there's time jumps in this book where throughout those time jumps, Poppy has been going to therapy every week. And and then Alex says he's been going to therapy regularly as well. They've been doing the work
Hmm.
to fix themselves and grow into better versions of themselves, to be able to communicate, to not let things like miscommunication or fear of communication with each other get between them. And that takes that, like, ownership over the relationship away. So, like, the more I think about it, the more upset I am that they didn't include therapy in the movie.
Hmm.
um because, yeah, I mean, like, having that conversation is scary and it's terrifying. Like, what if I ruin it? What if I like them and they don't like me? Like, and then we can't be friends? Like, all of those fears are valid, but not being strong enough to have that difficult conversation, like, look at all the other stuff that's happened because of it, or like a lot of it could have been solved if you guys had just talked.
But he's a cat person, so
He's a cat person.
which is all entirely not in the film, which is the other one of the other big things that made me upset about it, is that he had this whole character of the cat that had a personality and was his only form of communication with her for a while, and he's a
Yeah.
big part of it and not anywhere in the film.
Yeah.
But
R.I.P. to Flannery O'Connor.
right,
Yeah.
the
And the
actor
Grandma
and the cat.
Betty.
And then Grandma Betty. R.I.P. to Grandma Betty. All right. So now we know what happened all of the summers leading up to 2 summers ago. We know that last summer, like, basically after Croatia and the kiss, that became awkward and they didn't speak to each other. So it's been like 2 whole years since they've talked. And Alex's brother David calls Poppy and says, "Hey, I'm getting married in Barcelona. Like, you haven't RSVP'd yet." And she's like, "Oh shoot, like, let me find the invitation. Like, hey, it's this weekend, which, listeners, I'm getting married. At the time of this recording, I'm getting married in 5 days. I am not calling people 5 days before my wedding, hey, are you still coming? If you haven't responded by now, you're not coming, and I've moved on with my life. Like, I love you so much, but I can't do it, especially a destination wedding to Barcelona, which is a change. In the book, they go to Palm Springs, not Barcelona, but whatever. Like, that was honestly the biggest thing that I was like, this is fake. This is not real life. Like, I can
Well,
believe
that was a
everything else,
change in
but not that.
itself
Yeah.
because she decides to reach back out to Alex on her own. Like, I'm just
Yes.
gonna do it, and then they start the conversation, and then they end up going.
Yes.
So for to have David even reach out and like be like, why, like, it was like it was just weird
Yeah.
having the little brother like it, that the fact that he reaches out to her, plus what you're saying about it being the weekend of, like, it's such a weird
Yeah.
way to make it work for the film. Um, that
Little brother wants his brother to get back together with his girlfriend, with his best friend. You know.
Amen.
Yeah,
Amen.
and
But
maybe he
like,
knew the whole time. I think everybody did, but and maybe that's what he wanted at the end. But yeah, it's just such an odd change.
They
yeah,
actually wanted her to come and not Alex because he's a stick in the mud, and they just needed her to be there to bring him out a little bit. But
bring out Vacation Alex.
yeah,
Hmm.
That's funny. Anyways, so yeah, they, by some means or another, Poppy ends up taking the trip to David's wedding. So again, in the movie, David's wedding is a destination wedding to Barcelona, Spain. In the book, it's Palm Springs, California. Um, and so that in and of itself is a huge difference because you're talking about international flights and like all over
Hmm.
the place. But what is the same is Poppy lying to Alex about why she's going to the wedding. So she lies to Alex and says, it's for work. I'm going on a work trip. Then it happens to be in the same city. So, we could catch up and go together. And then, oh, I guess I could also go to your brother's wedding since I'm already going to be there. When in
Hmm.
reality, she is moving her work life around and taking an unplanned vacation from work specifically to go be with Alex and go to David's wedding. Um, so
And then the book is a huge deal because none of it's getting paid for. And like
yes.
that's the biggest lie is that she told Alex the company was paying for all this stuff.
Hmm.
And
yeah, it
that's why
happens
everything
over
had
like
to
a
be
week
cheap.
beforehand too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
instead of
Yeah.
like a day or two beforehand. But that
Yeah.
the squeezed timeline made it tougher to get a lot of this
Yeah.
depth into those days too.
Yeah.
And the
Um,
apartment is almost a character of its own in the book, like being in
true.
Palm Springs and the heat. That's where
Yes.
we took our honeymoon in Palm Springs, so I know all about the heat of Palm Springs from that. And our hotel that was nice was still hot all the time, so
Mm.
Yeah.
it made more sense than Spain. I feel like, even though it probably is still hot there, but that made a lot more sense there in the book. The heater,
Yeah.
the
And
city.
jumping ahead, I mean, they had a miserable time. The car, the heat, the apartment, AC, him spraining his back, all of that. But we talked about it, Chris, when we heard the thunderstorm. So they're coming back after the wedding, the big blow up at the wedding, and they're coming back to the house. And we have seen the patio is covered with the tarp, and we heard the thunderstorm, and we were like, "It's happening!" Just like the book. So
Yeah.
at least they got that part right.
Yeah.
They kept the
Yeah.
key elements.
Yeah.
Yeah. They kept that the AC didn't work, and so they're all like hot and like, I don't know about you guys, like, even though I'm a native Californian and I'm used to the heat, like I turn into a heat stroke. Jordyn is like not a fun Jordyn to be around. Like, so I totally get her like getting antsy and like irritated and like freaking out because it's so hot, and she's like, I can't think straight, and so she just takes the scissors and stabs the plastic to get some sort of fresh air into the apartment. And then you get the summer rainstorm in the desert, and it's just like, you know this gorgeous romantic, like, I think Sarah-Daye, you said it was like the Notebook like type of scene where it's raining and they're kissing and it's so beautiful. And then, like, usually in a story, like, that's it, like, oh, they finally have talked about their feelings, they love each other, they did the thing. and then we'll move on. And that's not the end of the story. They still have work to do. They still have conversations that they need to have. They go back to, Poppy. It's all from Poppy's point of view. So she's like, I don't want to make this weird, so I'm going to not talk about it, which is exactly what happened in Croatia and led to them not talking for the last 2 years. So like, we're not recognizing these cycles of behavior, and we're not learning anything from our experiences. We just keep doing the same thing over and over again. And so so that also happens before David's wedding in the book. The storm and the sleeping together, all of that happens before the brothers' wedding. So then they go to the brothers' wedding. Everything is fine and dandy, except for like, they know each other so well, they can tell something's not right. You're thinking about this, you're not sure. And Alex says like, she speaks very poorly. Like, she stumbles over her words and she doesn't mean what she says, but she says something along the lines of like, I needed a vacation from my life, and so that I wanted to see you. And so he takes offense to that. He's hurt. He's like, I'm not a vacation. I'm not something that you can have for a short time and then throw away when you need to get back to your real life. Like, I love you. I want to be with you always. And I don't want to keep being strung around by you, and because you don't know what you want. Like, Alex knows what he wants. He wants to get married. He wants to have kids. He's happy living in their hometown and growing old there. Like, he says that, like, I want to fucking grow old with you, and like in our house with our kids and grandkids. Like, he knows what he wants, and Poppy doesn't. And the whole thing is she keeps running away from things because she doesn't actually know what she's running towards. She just knows like, this isn't it, I'm gonna leave. And she keeps leaving all of these places, these people, and finally she's leaving Alex. He feels like she's leaving him, and he's like, you got to kind of choose at this point. Like, you're either you love me and you want to be with me and we're gonna do this, or you're gonna keep running away. And if you keep running away, like, I'm gonna shut the door. I'm not gonna let you keep coming in and hurting me.
Good boy.
Yeah.
And so she goes and learns how to take care of a plant.
Yeah.
A spider plant. So, I've kept one alive for a little while now, so I think it's pretty easy, because otherwise I kill everything. So,
What are your thoughts on the big like finale change?
Me or Chris?
Neither one of you. I'll start. I hated the fact that Sarah was a flight attendant and they ran into each other. Like, this whole time, the whole movie, I'm waiting for the finale, right? And I'm waiting for her to go to the school, run into Sarah, and then go to the bar. And then so, I mean, again, with how rushed they had to make the ending, I get that it was very convenient to just have her run into each other at the airport. And we had to have that conversation in some way. And then the whole running thing, like going to his house and like catching him while they were running, I did think it was really cute that we were like, "Oh, she's gonna have to run," and like she's been complaining the whole movie about not running. Very good rom-com moment, but I just wanted to see how it happened in the book so badly, so I was really disappointed in that.
they didn't give her trauma of the school being part of her trauma in the
Right.
movie, so it didn't make as much sense to force the school to be the moment.
The running
So
was the trauma.
the running was her. Yeah, she does not like to run, and so that worked. I mean, I think that they made it work in a way that felt pretty authentic to the book, other than the fact that I still don't think he had any depth. So it was all her figuring
Right.
out her problems. I just realized we totally the character that we didn't talk about, but is talked about in the book, is Rachel's mom being the therapist that she ends up
Right.
going to, and is the one that gives her the advice that she needs to go back to her what made her happy, and that's why she chooses, oh, I need Alex back in my life because he's the thing that has always made me happy, and that's what causes some of that miscommunication at the wedding and around that. Is because she's saying, you're my home when I'm on vacation, you're my relief from this. And that's who she goes to after, when she gets her therapist. I really like the ending of the book. The movie definitely got there, but it wasn't quite as impactful.
Agreed.
I didn't mind Sarah as a flight attendant, because right, like, as there are multiple points throughout the story where Poppy talks about why she loves traveling and why she loves airports, and like everybody's going somewhere and they're going on an adventure, and she's like romanticizing the airport as like this
Hmm.
way station for people on their journeys, and like you can meet so many new people there. And then one of the last times she talks about the airport is like after her and Alex have their like breakup scene at his gate in the airport going home from the wedding, where he gives her like the ultimatum, basically like you need to figure yourself out, so that way like we need to figure ourselves out and if we're going to work or not, because like I can't keep doing this with you. And so she talks about how lonely, like this is the first time she's ever felt lonely in an airport. And so having that significance of the airports in the book, I think I liked the change of Sarah being a flight attendant, and like, you know, the kind of romanticized beauty of the airport is that it's all strangers, but you're all kind of going to the same place and you're all doing the same thing. And then the happenstance of meeting, seeing someone you know there. I kind of like that change. So sorry. It was poetic to me. It made sense to me on that level.
I don't
But I
disagree with you. And
Yeah,
I agree with everything you were saying. It was good for the movie.
yeah,
It was just disappointing for me. And I know that they're supposed to be different mediums, but it was disappointing for me because I had been waiting the whole movie for this
right,
finale that was the book, and for her to go back to the hometown and go to the school and see Sarah at the school. But the moment they said she wasn't a teacher, she worked for her dad's company or whatever,
yeah.
I kind of knew in my heart it was not going to be at the school at the end. It was still just so shocking for me to see her as a flight attendant at the airport, but I agree
Yeah,
with everything that you said.
yeah,
It almost makes her feel like the same kind of person that's running away from her life as Poppy is. Like that's what Alex gravitates towards, is these people that can't stay in one place and are always moving to, whether it's Poppy or Sarah.
Hmm.
yeah. Yeah, but I think the whole book is just this great big metaphor for like finding out who you are, and like I don't know that any of us can ever really discover who we are if we don't do anything new, and we
Hmm.
don't go anywhere new. We don't see any new places or new things and meet new people. And so I think that's like a journey that each of us has to go on, and it's going to look different for each of us. Like for Sarah, it's going to look like being a flight attendant. For Poppy, it looks like working for her company and taking all these big huge vacations. For Alex, it looks like meeting Poppy and taking those summer trips with her every year, and just letting his weirdness come out with her. And so I think like, yeah, we all have a little bit of a Poppy in us, and we all have a little bit of an Alex in us, and so it's like finding the balance between them to
Hmm.
get to where we're supposed to be, like as in a metaphorical sense, like as people.
Enough said.
So I think that's it. Um, we got through the whole thing. They do have their rom com running through the streets of Linfield, Ohio. I love you. I love you. Okay, let's figure it out. We're gonna make it work. Um, and then that's it.
They live
And then
happily ever
That's
after.
it. The end.
hopefully they keep going to therapy and keep working themselves out.
I'm
and
sure they will.
They
and
got a dog. They're fine.
yeah,
They
Yeah.
don't
yes,
need
they did
therapy
get a little
anymore.
doggy. Yeah, and then he moves to New York to be with her. And then in the end of the book they do that too. He gets a job in New York, and they live together in New York, and she changes from being like a big like international travel blog to a people we meet in New York blog.
Hmm.
um, which there's a real one of those. It's like Humans of New York, I think, on Instagram and stuff.
Hmm.
But it does like it takes photos of people and tells their life stories, and
That's really cool.
she kind of does that, which I think is really cool, because like if home is when you're with your favorite person, then home can be anywhere. And so like let's,
Hmm.
instead of trying to get a shallow understanding of all these different places all over the world, let's really dig in deep to where we are right now. Let's dig in deep to this one person and spend the rest of your life with that person, and put down roots. And what is New York really like, really about? Instead of, this is top 5 places in Santorini where you'll go once and then never again. Like I like that metaphor as well of like finding your one person, your one place, and like diving deep into it and being fully present in that space.
Mm-hmm.
So not a perfect adaptation, but a good storytelling on both ways, on both mediums, which I always enjoy when
Yeah.
they do it well on both stories.
Yeah. I mean, I thought the movie was adorable. Like I said, I really liked their chemistry. I thought Poppy was so charismatic and so funny, and like I laughed a lot. So it was a good time.
What was your bookmarked moment? What was your favorite, each of your guys' favorite moments from the book or the movie?
I think that the humor and what was it when she's being sarcastic. Most of the time, she's being sarcastic and saying quippy things. I was uh, entertained by that, and really like when they meet Sarah and Alex at the door, and she says, "I've done nothing but complain about you to him. I don't know what you're talking about." That's definitely my kind of humor there. Enjoyed those.
I had mine earlier and then I forgot it, but for the sake of the podcast, I'll say the condom scene. It was similar enough to the book, but the added sex talk between Alex and her dad was just so funny. And then throwing the condoms in after they settled, it was not a sex talk, it was a flight talk, but then the condoms appear and it's like, so it was a sex talk. I just thought that was probably the funniest part of the movie. But other than
Condoms and
that,
drugs.
um, other than that, like Emily Bader as Poppy, I thought knocked it out of the park.
Yeah. Really did.
Yeah. What about you guys' least favorite moments?
In the ending.
Yeah.
From Tuscany on.
The lack of
so like the whole last hour of the movie.
Yeah.
The lack of Alex's depth really
Mm-hmm.
made me sad throughout the whole film because it just made it all her story and not a story of the two of them figuring this stuff out.
And I just don't think it gives Tom Blythe enough to do.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think he could have done it all well. I think that might have given him, showing more emotion, being more of that a person growing throughout the film would have been interesting for him.
Yeah.
And you, Jordyn?
I think my favorite is probably, it's from the book. I like the conversation, their like breakup conversation in the airport. That felt like the most real. And then it was like Alex getting that like emotional depth of like, you've been hurting me by not being honest with me, and like recognizing that he's kind of been doing the same thing because they've both been afraid to talk to each other. And so I really appreciated like that real like raw hurt that both of them were feeling. Um, and then my favorite moment is probably like any interactions that they each had with the other person's family. Like I just, because family is very important to me, and like, Ethan gets along so well with my parents and my sisters. Like that's just always very heartwarming to me when like you bring a new person into and bring them and make them part of your family, and everybody gets along. And like how much Alex's dad and brother love Poppy so much, to the point where he's calling and like, hey, you're coming to my wedding, right? Like he wants her there independent of her relationship with Alex. So that was very sweet. I really love that. I think that's it. Any final thoughts from anybody on people we meet on vacation?
When art speaks to you, you make it work.
Theme matters.
Theme matters. All the little catchphrases throughout were really, really fun. All those little
I like their
things.
inside jokes.
Yeah, we definitely need to give them credit for doing some accurate lines.
Yes,
straight from the book.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the inside jokes that they shared were really cute and really funny.
All right.
All right. Well, that's it, friends. Another episode of Book Watch up and out for you. Next time you see me, I will be married, so that'll be super fun and exciting. Woo! So I get to join my co-hosts in the married life, and yeah, it'll be super fun. I don't know when I'll see you guys again, but I will. I'll be back at some point, somewhere. Somehow, some way, I'll be back. So yeah, be sure to listen to our outro. Find us on all the social medias. Give us a listen. Like and subscribe. Share with your friends. Meet somebody new on vacation, even if it's just a new version of yourself. And we'll see you next time. Bye.
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 That's a wrap for today's episode of Book Watch. I hope you enjoyed this journey into the world of page-to-screen adaptations. If you loved today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, review wherever you listen to podcasts, and share it with your fellow book and movie lovers. If you'd prefer to watch along, you can check the show out on YouTube. You can follow the show on Instagram at Bookwatch Podcast, and you can follow me, Sarah-Daye, on Instagram at captain.mcdee. That's MCDEE. You can also join the conversation in the Bookwatch Lounge on Facebook at www.facebook.com/groups/bookwatchlounge. If you would like to support the podcast, you can join the Patreon at www.patreon.com/bookwatchpodcast. Tiers start at only $4 a month, and I'd love to have you over there. If you have a favorite adaptation you'd like to cover with me, I'd love for you to apply to be on the show with the contact form on our website at www.bookwatchpodcast.com. Until next time, keep reading, keep watching, and I'll see you next week.